Hello, everybody, and welcome into Curtis's Podcast Network and this AFC South Show 179 live here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. And my name's Curtis. You can find me here. You can also find me at That Real Texas Team Podcast covering the Texans. With me, as always, my resident Jaguars fan, Isaiah, a.k.a. Duval's Finest, a.k.a. the Glitter Kitty Conquistador, host of Third and Teal. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Got paid for doing not shit today, so that was pretty cool. Just kidding. Just kidding. I work. I promise. 8 hours a day, just like the rest of you. But no, I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing solid. Doing solid. Down at your bottom right, we've got Jeff, a.k.a. Big Stack, a.k.a. the guy that your mom daydreams about. Host of Unstabled. What's going on, Jeff?
Oh, not a whole lot. Started a job a week and a half ago, going pretty good. But yeah, I think we're going to go live tomorrow on Unstabled, so be sure to check that out. I think we're going to do another one probably Friday or Saturday to preview. Oh no, it's a bye week. Maybe we won't even have to. Never mind. We're going to go live tomorrow. But otherwise, doing pretty good.
Okay. Hell yeah. Austin is the host of Titans Takeaways. Finally, making his presence felt, the Titans' presence felt here on the
They
channel.
exist.
They do exist.
We are here. We're out there.
Go check out Titans Takeaways. Like, subscribe. Austin, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Excited to talk about my Titans. Obviously, we kind of had a hiccup, if you could call it that. It was a blowout, but I like our trajectory. Rookie head coach. There's some kinks to work out. I'm liking the progress that I'm seeing. So go Titans, man. Happy to be here. Happy to remind you guys that there are still Titans fans out there.
Damn right. Look, so obviously there's a particular headline or two that a lot of people are frothing at the mouth to hear about. We'll get into that. We're going to savor the flavor on that one right now. We're not going to go in head first or even forearm first. We're not going to do that. But let's talk about other injuries. Jimmy Ward was hurt for the Texans. He came back, but it's something to keep an eye on because that man is perennially broken. Beyond that, we kind of left the game pretty unscathed. I don't remember anybody else going down. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, Isaiah, did anybody get hurt for the Jags?
I don't think so.
Okay. Jeff, what about the Colts? Any injuries to worry about going forward?
Hopefully we get Josh Downs back. His presence was obviously missed. As far as injuries in the game, I think came out of it pretty unscathed. I know hopefully Ryan Kelly will be back. I think this is the end of his the 4 games that he had to take on IR, so maybe he'll be back if I'm not mistaken. Other than that, I will say that I did predict they signed the Glow Man a week ago. He was on the practice squad. They elevated him because Dalton Tucker was ass, and he wound up starting. And he was actually, I think, the highest graded lineman in that game. So he came back, and his presence was definitely felt. Definitely improved the line. So I think he's earned his spot at that right guard spot going forward, at least for the season. Beyond that, I don't remember too many injuries for either team, to be honest.
Okay. Austin, any injuries to keep note of as we're going?
Yeah. I mean, we are getting pretty thin on defensive back. Roger McCreary went out with a shoulder injury. There's no note on how severe that is, but he did go out on the game. Just to put this back, it's been a few weeks, so you guys might not know on the Titans side, Quandre Diggs, L'Jarius Sneed, and Awuzie, all defensive backs for us, all on IR, going to be missing several weeks there. This is tough, man. We're getting really thin out there. Our starting center, Cushenberry, is also on IR. He's dealing with quite a few things. So it's just we're getting thin. We didn't notice the deficit on the defensive back side as much against the Commanders. We definitely noticed, the missing starting center. Not having Cushenberry is really, really tough. So But we'll get there. Injuries are a part of the game, right? So it's a good show of Callahan's coaching skill, how he's going to respond to all these injuries.
Yeah.
More losses. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no,
probably more losses,
but that's not the reason.
We're hyped to have Bayshawn back and DeGremlin's in the chat. What's up, boys? How you doing? Been a while, Bayshawn.
What up, Bay?
Let's get into the first game. Losers go first.
Hey, he's a Colts fan. Don't be winking at him. He's mine.
I mean, he's gonna like that. Yeah.
The biggest loser goes first, and this week, that means the Titans. So, Austin, let's talk about this debacle in DC.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of just being the one that has to go first so often. I missed last week. Last week would have been nice. But
for the 2 episodes you've been on, you've had to go first. I think that's fair.
Well, that's a 100% rate, So we got we got whopped, man. It was 42-19. Commanders just smoked us. What I noticed about the game is we didn't lose like I thought we would. I thought it was going to be the Jaden Daniels show. We were really slim on defensive back. I thought Jaden Daniels was going to throw all over us. Now, Terry McLaurin did have a really good game, but we actually outgained them on the passing yards. It was 210 passing yards on the Titans side to 196 on the Commander side. Where they really crushed us was the rushing yards. They rushed for 267 yards to our 35. Just abysmal. You're not going to win games if there's that big of a deficit. It's unreal, especially because the Titans are a run-first team. I did not anticipate us getting smoked like this. So Brian Robinson Jr. just had our number. And even their backups, Chris Rodriguez for the Commanders was running all over us. He almost got to 100 yards. Just ridiculous, man. It was really, really hard to watch, especially we've got such a stout defensive line. I did not anticipate losing like that. Other than that, when you give up 2 fumbles, back-to-back drives at the very start of the game, it's hard to recover. It's just turnovers have been an issue. Usually they're coming from Will Levis. This time it came from our other players. It's just fumbles back-to-back. We had no momentum. We gassed our defense early doing that. Really tough. And then another just sticking point for the Titans all year has been penalties, man. We are consistently we're number 1, I believe, in the league, right behind Baltimore, if we're not number 1 on penalties. 12 penalties, 93 yards. We gave them a football field worth of yardage. It's just really, really hard to overcome those things, man. Other than that, I did think Will Levis played really well. He's developing a lot better decision-making. He's just chucking that ball into the ground. He's getting out of the pocket, chucking it into the ground. He's a fast, physical guy when he's running. So I was really impressed with his decision-making. He's got just great deep balls, great touch on his deep balls. I've been really, really satisfied with him. And then, of course, Nick Westbrook. I've been really satisfied with Will Levis's balls, man. They're just beautiful. But Nick Westbrook-Akina has continued being a workhorse, man. That guy's one of the longest tenured Titans. He's been around since the Vrabel era. Had 2 touchdowns. He's just kind of a consistent workhorse for us. So I'm happy with the way they played. That's really it for the bright side, man. Everybody else, the offensive line had a penalty, felt like every big play that just made it harder for us to overcome. So that's the snapshot of the Titans game there.
Greatest Titans wide receiver of all time.
He's getting there.
Well, how many touchdowns has he got at this point? I feel like he's got a good little streak going right now.
Yeah, it's 8 touchdowns in the last 8 games. This is where he's at right now. And I believe that's all that he has this year. He might have 1 or 2 others from one of the first games. But yeah, the last 8 games, he's got 8 touchdowns. That's a great pace to have there.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on it a little bit. My main question about this game, before I have my opinion, I guess. Are you seeing enough progress out of Will Levis to maybe hold on to him for another year, give him another shot, or is this just window dressing at this point?
So yeah, I have. I'm totally fine if we decide to keep him. I'm fine if we don't. Either way, I think he has shown enough where I'd like to see him suit up again for us next year. We'll have him for another, I believe, 2 years there. But I think he's earned the right to start for us again next year, as long as he continues this. If you look at his stats, they don't look very sexy. He had a 50% completion rate. He was 18 of 37. That sounds really awful because it is, but there was about 5 drops from our receivers that game. So it's not nearly as bad as you think. He had no interceptions, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's playing efficiently for us. And again, he's got the good stuff. He's got the arm talent. He's got great legs when we need him to run. The biggest issue is his decision-making, which he's kind of nailed down. I'm pretty happy with the way he's been playing.
Okay. You guys have any comments about this? About the game?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of it, but going into a point later for the Colts, I don't like to do a whole lot of stat watching, but it doesn't seem like the Titans could really run for shit. Man, I said it in the pod earlier, man. They've got to be regretting not having Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. Derrick was definitely good for, a good home run ball periodically, and then goal line, red zone was his thing. Like, you just let that fucking linebacker eat. Yeah, no, look, this game I think I heard Mike Keith say that it was like a hangover from winning against Houston. Like they kind of spent a lot of emotion on the Houston game, and this game was the inevitable fallback. And that kind of fits a lot of what I saw because, of course, I'm not really able to watch the game in its entirety because I'm at work, talking to people, but I'm dropping off food, looking at the TV as I'm walking back to the kitchen. There was a lot of things that the Titans were able to do against Houston pretty well that they could not get going at all. Like fucking, where the hell did the run defense go?
Run defense, run offense. It was all pretty miserable. I mean, Tony Pollard had, I think, his worst showing of the year. 8 rushes for 35. I mean, he didn't get very many, or 8 carries. He didn't get very many opportunities there, but it was still like their defensive line was manhandling ours. And it was when you flip the ball, that's kind of when I brag about the Titans, I brag about Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons being just the baddest dudes on defense. And where were they? They just ran all over us, man. It was tough.
Yeah. I hope Bobby Slowick and D'Amico Ryans watch that game, because the Commanders were able to do something that they weren't, and with arguably a worse offensive line in certain respects. So there's something to be gained from that. But
don't do all that to Gremlin. You cool right now, but we're gonna have a problem. You start bringing some bullshit like that in here.
So with that, let's go ahead and kick it over to the winning side of the table. Jeffrey, let's talk about your Colts surviving the Patriots.
Yeah, surviving, literally. All I got to say is thank God the Patriots are terrible in the red zone. This game very well could have been a blowout, but they can't get out of their own way. They committed almost 90 yards of penalties, mostly on offense. I know there was like a pass interference they had on defense, but a lot of those yards came on their offense in the red zone, stalled out their drives, and it was a blessing because the Colts couldn't stop them. I mean, if you just look at the stats, they outdid the Colts in pretty much every way, except like sacks. They forced a couple interceptions, time of possession. They had them by almost 10 minutes. But yeah, the only category was the Colts played a clean game, and they didn't. That's really what it came down to, aside from the last drive of the game, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, there's a lot of people talking about how Anthony Richardson, shit performance, whatever. Like, he's actually looked really good the last 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, completed 50% of his passes, but man, there was a lot of drops in this game. Again, that last drive, man, he was on point. A couple of deep passes dropped. AD dropped one. It was kind of in the bucket. They got to catch these passes. I mean, when he's throwing the ball accurately, it's like they can't catch. And then when he's not throwing accurately, the whole thing falls apart. So they're not really doing him any favors. The last 2 weeks, they haven't helped them at all. His stats should look a lot better than 12 of 24. I think in the half he only passed the ball 8 times or something like that. So they did a run heavy. I was very happy with Steichen for doing that. When you got Jonathan Taylor back there, I mean, there's no reason not to. He ran the ball 25 times, almost hit 100 yards. He had a receiving touchdown in the game, and it was actually a great throw. I think it was there in the first quarter, maybe the second. Anthony Richardson was getting hit, and he put a lot of touch on it, a lot of air under it. Great pass to Jonathan Taylor for the touchdown. Anthony Richardson isn't a guy that you're going to stat watch. Like, you actually have to watch the game to understand what's happening at it, especially over the last couple of weeks. He wasn't bad against Detroit. And he wasn't – I mean, he missed a few throws in this one. He got baited into an interception. He did kind of underthrow Alec Pierce on the second pick, so I'm not saying that they weren't on him. They were. But, it was a mistake that any quarterback would make. I mean, it wasn't like an abysmal throw on either one of them. It was just shit happens kind of thing. But when you look at this game and you look at that last drive, I think there was 4, maybe 5 minutes left in the game. Colts were down. What was it, 17-24? And he orchestrated a 19-play drive. And he kind of got 2 monkeys off of his back in that game. I mean, he already had a fourth quarter comeback against the Jets. And it was that he can't complete the short passes, which the touchdown was a short pass. It was on 4th down, speaking of which he converted 3 4th downs on the last drive too. He threw a beautiful short pass to Alec Pierce, touchdown right where it needed to be. And then the very next play, he runs in the 2-point conversion to basically win the game. And it was kind of a redemption there too for Quentin Nelson. He had a really, really bad game against Detroit. And he was that kind of like that leading charge that won the game this time for the Colts. So it was nice to see that from Quentin Nelson, kind of have that little redemption arc, because he easily had his worst game against the Lions. But yeah, like, if you're going to look at Anthony, like, that's like a career defining moment. He's only 22. Yeah, it was against a bad Patriots team. Yeah, they don't have the greatest defense. Their offense would be a lot better if they didn't suck ass in the red zone. But the NFL, there's no easy win unless if you're, playing, I don't know, the Titans. But no, like, winning isn't easy in the NFL. And just to have a drive like that to basically end a game, I mean, that's pretty special, man. I mean, he was really good on that last drive. I mean, there was no – and what I really liked when they scored that touchdown, it wasn't like a jumping up and down celebrating. Anthony Richardson was still locked in, stone-faced. Like, man, let's get the 2. Let's do it. And it was just on to the next play. And then when he finally got it, yeah, he celebrated and kind of did his own, like, emoji thing. He threw up the L to the Patriots fans. It was pretty funny. Against any other team, I'm like, stay a little humble. They're 3-9, but it's the Patriots. Fuck them. So I didn't mind it so much. But yeah, it was just, and there was another thing that came out of it, tackling. Sire Franklin leads the league. He had another 10 tackles, 2 assists. He had a sack and a half in the game. Nick Cross had another sack. Julian Blackmon had a beautiful interception. Just kind of, it was actually a combo of Nick Cross popping it out of the tight end and Blackmon just being at the right place at the right time. It was just good teamwork defense. It was about the only time this game that it actually happened. They couldn't stop the run at all. They ran for almost 200 yards on him again. They made Drake May look really good for the most part. Again, just penalties bit the Patriots in the ass, but that's what I was worried about with this Colts defense, is just making rookie quarterbacks look a lot better, kind of give them that assist, not bringing a whole lot of pressure. But they got the win. This was kind of a season salvaging game, so it was really neat to see that last drive. But as far as those tackles go, they also lead the league in missed tackles. I think EJ Speed leads the league in missed tackles. Like, they're on the field so much, they should be leading in tackles, but they're also missing a lot of tackles. So it's kind of
double-edged sword there.
Yeah. The defense has a lot to work on. Like this very well could have been a blowout if they weren't, if the Patriots just weren't so bad in the red zone. But
I always forget to do this, but what we predicted for the Titans game, Eric said 30-19.
My boy Eric.
Eric. I had 29-17, and then Jeff 30-17. The Colts game, we had Eric said 14-10 New England. I said 21-20 New England, and Jeff said 24-23 Indianapolis.
Dang, Jeff.
Yeah.
What was the final score?
25-24.
Oh, you suck.
That was close, man.
Close is only good in horseshoes and on her face.
But
Fair enough.
I'll take it.
But
Wait, no, you're a Colts fan. Of course you take it.
Oh man, I will say though, they lined up at the end of the game there to try and win. They tried a 68-yard field goal, and I was kind of shitting bricks. I'm like, man, they're gonna make this. They're gonna make it.
How close was it?
It fell. I want to say like 5-6 yards shy.
Oh, okay.
So if it was like a 62, 63, he probably makes it. Man, it was right on line. It was an accurate as shit kick. It was just short. I was like, oh my God.
yeah,
After all that, just to lose on a 68-yarder, I would have been pissed.
an NFL record.
Yeah, an NFL record to win the game would be crazy.
Oh my God.
And basically end the Colts season. That would have been
Yeah. Isaiah, do you have any Colts Patriots commentary?
No, I didn't get to catch the game, so I really don't have much to say. I mean, what that makes a AFC South sweep of the Patriots now, right?
Correct.
Okay, sweet. Fuck the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's about all I got. I don't really have much else to say.
And I think it was the first time the Colts won in Foxborough since like 2006 or something stupid.
It helps that it's the first time they've played in Foxborough when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick weren't there.
Pretty much. I think the last time the Colts beat the Patriots in a home game, it was like in London or something. So yeah, it's been a long time.
Doodly do.
It's been a long time since the Colts won in Foxborough.
Austin, Colts, Patriots?
Nothing really, man. You guys did what you had to against a Patriots team that's got a lot of young talent. Drake May, you made a comment. Well, they made Drake May look good. I think Drake May is going to be a really good quarterback when you watch him. So the fact that you guys held up and squeaked out a win against them, like you said, no win is easy. You could, kind of be like, oh, we only beat the 3-9 Patriots by 1 point. Like, I don't feel too great about that. But at the end of the day, you did what you needed to do. That defense, I noticed some of the missed tackles on some of the highlights that I was watching. Like you said, when the time of possession is so heavily skewed and your defense is on the field for so long, that number is just going to go up. So your Colts team, they look good, man. They look average. That's really what it is, but they don't look bad, man. You're not the Jags. You're not the Titans. Take what you can get. Those are my thoughts there.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to watch much of the game either, but I did have a feeling when we were doing the preview that this game was going to be more competitive than it should be because this Patriots team has developed like a scrappiness over the last 4 or 5 weeks. After the Texans beat them, they kind of started giving everybody a little bit of the business. I think they gave the Jags a little bit of a scare until the Jags just kind of put the gas to them.
Who, Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys went to overtime with them in Tennessee. And then, this. I mean, they're a vastly different team than what Houston played. And then I think a lot of their ineptness was early season was probably Jacoby Brissett, just being the game manager that he is. But, yeah, I mean, I kind of don't understand the Colts. At times, the offense looks like the running game looks, like the most formidable thing in the AFC South. And then at times it's AWOL. It's weird. I don't get it. And then Anthony Richardson, I mean, that was the most NFL Anthony Richardson game possible, in my opinion. Like that was that stat line 50% completions, 200-ish yards, and 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's what I expect out of Anthony Richardson.
Well, total of 3. He rushed for 1.
Oh, okay. 3
That's,
total.
so that's kind of what that's kind of what he did in Florida. It's not even like NFL Anthony Richardson. That's just Anthony Richardson.
Curtis, is that you saying that's his peak? Like we're seeing the best version of Anthony Richardson right now?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's his peak because look at what Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield have done in situations that are more flattering. I don't think Shane Steichen, who, has done pretty good with mobile quarterbacks, knows exactly what to do with Anthony Richardson from time to time. Because usually most mobile quarterbacks, they're built like Jalen Hurts or they're built like Lamar Jackson, and they're a little bit more lanky. This dude is a mammoth. Anthony Richardson's a big man, so he's not afraid to take hits. Unfortunately, he's made of glass. So
hey, now he's had really good runs these last 3 games, and he has fucked some defenders up with that trucking that he's got. He has fucked some people up, and he stayed healthy for 3 games. I know that's like
it's a record.
Yeah, but like
even a quarter of the season
record. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's true.
And I will say in this game, like Shane Steichen, like I think in the press conference when he decided to go for 2 and for the win, he was like, you know what, fuck it, we're already there. Like let's just go for the win. We're already here. We're already down there. Let's just do it. Like forget overtime. And I'm like, sometimes his aggressiveness has gotten the better of him, but man, he called the right play, put trust in his quarterback, and he delivered, man. Like that's
what's up, Eric. He's soft like tissue paper. Absolutely.
Hey.
Old TP.
Hey, he's not the one that keeps getting injured this year, like old T-Law. I'm just saying.
What are you talking about?
He made it 3 games.
Anthony Richardson has been injured multiple times this season. What are you talking about?
Not really.
Yeah, he only had to sit out twice because of injury.
He benched himself. Remember? I mean, he wasn't hurt.
Yeah. And then he was on the injury.
That was a.
Then he was on
sit your ass on the bench a couple games.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay. Does anybody else have any more Colts Patriots commentary before you turn the page?
No.
Negative. All right. Well, then let's get to this Houston traveling down to Jags game. I'll go over the predictions real quick. Eric said if Mac Jones, 17-14 Houston. If T-Law, 28-24 Jacksonville. I said 23-13 Houston. Jeff said T-Law 27-24 Houston. If it's Mac 27-13 Houston. I don't know why. I mean, I guess the quarterback does have a little bit to do with that, but it turned out to be kind of the opposite, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Isaiah, let's get your perspective.
Here we go.
I mean, there's not much perspective to be had. I mean, it was a solid game, I guess, for overall. Azeez Al-Shaair can suck all of these nuts. That dude's a piece of shit, and he's shown that time and time again. He deserves more than just a 3-game suspension, in my opinion. But whatever. He's lucky that there was a couple guys there to hold him back before Brandon Scherf absolutely decapitated him in a fight. I don't know. Overall, the game, though, Trevor Lawrence, we finally start moving the ball, and then he gets annihilated on a completely unnecessary hit. Mac Jones came in, and I mean, with Mac Jones, he's averaged, I think, like basically 100 yards a game. He threw it for over 200 this game, had, I think, 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. 2 touchdowns.
So he was doing all right, but I mean, that's what you start to get a little bit whenever the other team's unfamiliar with you. And then you've now had, 3 games with these guys rather than starting behind that, playing with them randomly one time here and there. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Trevor really should have ever even been on the field in this game. I think they should have shut him down for the season, let him he should have, taken care of himself, gotten the surgery. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, but he should have never been out there. So like this, it's not even as, it was still a dirty play, but absolutely Trevor should have never been on the field. We said it on the podcast, 2 weeks ago, whenever he got the initial hurt, like the injury report. The terrible decision by the franchise, terrible decision by Trevor Lawrence to play in this game. But it's kind of hard to have your starting quarterback who you signed to a where you signed to a big contract and he wants to play and he's healthy enough to play. It's kind of hard to shut him down and say, no, you're not allowed to play. So that's another thing that kind of hurts there is like, even if he gets healthy after this concussion and he comes back and he says he wants to play, like, can you really bench him and not allow him to play? You should, but you're just going to piss him off if that happens. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately we couldn't stick it out. Our defense played decent. Yeah, Eric mentioned, dude, Devin Lloyd on that first defensive play for us again when the Texans run offense, he laid the wood on CJ Stroud in the pocket, and he got a good rib shot on him. CJ was definitely feeling it. They were getting after CJ pretty good all night. That Texans O line. I don't like the sacks weren't really there as like a full out number, but I mean he was definitely feeling the pressure all night. I think it's been encouraging that Trayvon Walker has continued to have such a great season. Yeah, we didn't give up any sacks whatsoever. So like the offensive line was playing decent. I just think overall it was a better game than I expected after Trevor Lawrence got hurt. So that was cool. Brian Thomas Jr. continues to eat. Parker Washington had a breakout game. He's a guy that I think will be the direct replacement for Christian Kirk going forward. But yeah, I mean, just overall unfortunate what happened, and the loss was closer than I thought it'd be. But not much else to say on that one. I think the tackle duo, I think people are overreacting. And we'll talk about the contract really quick. I'm sure y'all saw that Walker Little got re-signed to a 3-year extension. I think people are overreacting on that contract. You have a starting left tackle in the National Football League where you're only required to pay him $8.6 million a season. His guaranteed money, I think, is $26 million over 3 seasons. Like, so you really don't owe him that much money. If he turns out to be a top half of the league tackle, you have an absolute steal. And if he turns out to be terrible, you can just draft somebody else or sign someone. You don't owe him that much money. And then Anton Harrison and him put together a great game. And they didn't allow a single sack against a great pass rushing duo in Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Is Anderson 100% yet? Do we know?
I mean, he did pretty well against the Titans. I'm pretty sure it was just what we were game planning on.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do a lot of stunts or a lot of blitzing. So
yeah,
especially not after Trevor Lawrence got hurt.
That kind of confused me too, because I know, that's what we've struggled with all year was people stunting and blitzing has been like our main issue. But I'm not upset about it that they didn't do it. But actually, that was funny too. We were watching the film and the Trayvon Walker sack, that was actually on a stunt, and we haven't I think that's probably like the 4th or 5th stunt we've done all season. So I was super excited to see that. Curtis, did you see that Texans fans are upset about the Trayvon Walker sack?
No, I haven't seen that.
So they're trying to say, you saw it though, right? You saw how he kind of he dove and grabbed a hold of him, and his leg swung through underneath CJ.
I think so, but I never really thought much about it.
Basically, Texans fans are saying, oh, he should have got called for a hip drop tackle, and trying to pull away from the Azeez Al-Shaair conversation and talking about, oh, well, Trayvon Walker's dirty. He tried to do this. And I'm like, come on, guys, be better than that. It wasn't a hip drop tackle. He dove and he kind of with CJ's momentum and the fact that he grabbed him by the shoulder pads, his legs just kind of swung around and he brought him down. But yeah, I mean, overall though, better game than I expected us to be in with Trevor Lawrence going down. So kind of is what it is at this point.
Okay. You guys got anything to say about the Jags side of it before I get into the Texans stuff?
No, I feel bad for the Jags, man. Losing T-Law. They're about to take another L next week. It's just tough to be a Jags fan right now.
Who do we play next week?
The Titans.
Oh, the guaranteed win?
Yeah, march Mac Jones out there against Tavondre Sweat and tell me how it goes.
What's he going to do? Tavondre Sweat? Mac Jones would outrun him in a heartbeat. Mac Jones isn't great, but he's faster than Tavondre
has
Sweat.
1 sack. Yeah, he's got 1 sack on the year, man. He's there just
another jersey bet coming on.
Oh, I'll have to think about this. I still
forgot about that.
I'm
forgot.
still waiting on my Malik Willis jersey
Yeah.
because, like, DH Gate be moving, but not very fast.
I wanted the Sam Darnold one for the Minnesota preview game that we were going to do, so I could wear it then. It made the most sense. But now we're just looking at whenever the hell I get it.
Yeah. The Gremlin says the two dudes hitting Nico in the back of the head was borderline bad, but the sack wasn't.
I didn't see the Nico play.
There was
we'll
one
throw him a pork chop.
There was one play where I do remember somebody getting hit pretty egregiously from behind, but there was nothing that's really going to take away from what Aziz did.
That was like, I think Rex Ryan went on a whole thing about it. I'm like, whether or not you think Trevor Lawrence slid late, whatever. If you just look at how they're sliding, like he's kind of got his leg tucked under, he's starting to slide, but so now they can't move. Their agility's gone because they're starting to slide. They're still mostly vertical. They've got 200-pound linebackers and safeties and shit flying at them. Like, sliding doesn't do anything to protect the quarterback. Like, it really doesn't. And I'm not saying what Aziz did wasn't, like, it was clear that he lunged at him with the arm brace to his face. Like, it was clear what he did. Yeah. Like, there's no debating that. It's just, if you really want to protect a quarterback, don't teach him that shit. Like, yeah, you got to teach him to protect himself, but like sliding clearly ain't it.
Like, sliding isn't it when the opposing linebacker rejects all rules and laws.
In 99%,
we've seen instances where there's
of cases.
I agree with Isaiah here.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
It leaves them open to shit like that. Is what I'm saying.
No,
like, and then you get quarterbacks that are like running to the sideline. The defender pulls up because he thinks he's running out of bounds, doesn't want the penalty. Because he pulls up, he gets another couple of yards. Like, well, what the fuck is a defender supposed to do in that situation? Like, I don't know what the solution is to these things.
They should have made a fake slide rule like they did in college. After Kenny Pickett did that bullshit, they should have made a fake slide rule in the NFL too. Because there's no reason there shouldn't be at both levels, because like you can't trust guys to not do that, especially when they're, Patrick Mahomes and other people like that who think they can get away with anything. But no, the Gremlin, we talked about this before the show. I don't think he's getting a 3-game suspension 100% purely based off of the hit itself. I think it's based on the hit, the previous couple times this season he's had some shit happen, and then the fight. And then him running back over from their sideline to our sideline, almost our sideline again, trying to fight a second time, and then getting ejected, and then trying to go, which Will Anderson Jr., he's a G for getting hit in the head. I mean, he had his helmet on, but for getting hit with a water bottle and then just put your fucking hand up and keep walking, what a dude. Good on him. The whole time the fight was going on, he was trying to split people up and not trying to get involved in actually fighting. Will Anderson Jr., great guy. Love that dude. But I think that it was mainly just like everything comped together, and then like the second running over to try and fight again was really what sealed it. It probably would have been a 1 game had that not happened, I think. But I think that's what like put the icing on top. They said, no, we got to make an example. We got to like show players you can't just try and run back over and fight again after this happens. Because they do mention in the like the letter saying that he's getting getting the suspension. It does say, like, it does mention the fact of like he tried to go back over and fight again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says you removed your helmet and re-engaged with your opponent while walking down and across the field, which started another physical confrontation near the end zone. So I think that's probably the main reason he got multiple games.
Yeah. Cyclops just said lucky it wasn't a suspension for the rest of the season. I don't think
I agree.
Would have been that long, regardless. I think
it's only one more game.
About Myles Garrett hitting Mason Rudolph in the head with his own helmet. That's inarguably a worse offense, and he got suspended indefinitely and basically just missed the rest of the season from, I think you said it was like middle of November on.
What is he supposed to do? Maybe not lunge and hit someone in the head intentionally on a low hit. Like, let's say Trevor Lawrence, that's a quarterback. Let's just say Trevor Lawrence didn't slide. Because he says he didn't notice him sliding. That's what he's trying to say. So you're telling me that you're going to lead with your fists and your arm like this into someone's knees? Is that how you tackle quarterbacks?
Anybody.
Like that makes no sense. Nobody tackles like that. Nobody tackles with their forearm out like this and their other fist here balled up like to hit someone. That's a dumb argument. I keep seeing people say that. A late slide was not at all what happened here. And I mean, yeah, you don't tackle people like that. If you didn't know he was sliding, you probably would have got your legs taken out because you would have still been standing mostly vertical trying to lay the wood on him like you would normally do against a quarterback, unless you're trying to break their legs. It was fully intentional. Azeez Al-Shaair had absolutely zero recourse for what he didn't care. He didn't have any remorse for it.
I didn't have a lot of time to immediately think about what he did before he got justifiably jumped.
I mean, you know, but I mean, the fact that he ran, all I'm saying is like he ran back across the field.
Right.
Like later, you know, shout out Logan Cook. But yeah.
But now I will say sometimes, like, if a defender is quarterback's running, he's trying to gain some yards, defender's coming at him full speed, and then he starts to go for the tackle, and then he slides. It's like, well, what the fuck is the defender supposed to do in that situation? Like,
Agreed.
You can't stop moment. Like I was saying, there's just like the slide rule doesn't really protect anybody. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know really what the fix is to this, but like a defender can't just stop. Like, you just can't. So I don't know what the fix is to it, but it's like either he's a runner and what happens, or I don't know.
Nice.
Like as soon as he takes off, he's a running back. So I don't know. That's some good
Hell
stuff.
yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
It's bowling night, baby.
There were definitely a lot of different things that could have happened. You know, like Isaiah said, Trevor shouldn't have been playing to begin with. That would have maybe not prevented this play from happening, but it might have been just Mac Jones instead. But whatever.
No, they're not running the naked boot with Mac Jones. Well, it is Press Taylor and Doug Peterson, so they might, but I don't think they're stupid. I don't think they're that stupid.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like maybe instead of trying to slide forward, maybe slide to the sideline. I don't know. Don't
Well,
even.
then you gotta like.
If he slides to the sideline, there's still before he even has a chance to lunge. There's still 5 yards before them.
Well, my thing though is like trying to slide to the sideline. You're in the same situation as like what's going on with the linebacker, where now you have to try and completely stop and change your momentum to go to the side.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he made at a certain point, Trevor made the decision to cut upfield. That's what I'm saying is at that.
Point, I mean, he was 15 yards away from Al-Shaair at that point.
Right. So go outside.
I mean, he was outside the hash, outside basically outside the numbers.
I mean,
and the first down was like 15 yards away from where he was. I mean, you're not just going to run straight out of bounds.
Yeah, if you're a healthy quarterback, maybe not. But is Trevor Lawrence a healthy quarterback right now?
Did he slide or did he not? Because the NFL rules protect you when you start a feet first slide, but some people don't follow the rules.
They don't protect you. They just punish those who break the rules. Clearly.
Well, it's supposed to, but some people don't follow the rules, and that's the problem here. It's not that anybody decided to slide the same way every quarterback slid for years. It's the fact that a player decided to go out of their way to try and intentionally injure somebody.
Yeah. Kind of goes back to the old, you can't legislate.
Rolled away during the. Do you understand how? Have you ever played baseball to Gremlin? You know how sliding works?
Trevor had no business being in the game in the first place.
Like the issue here is that Trevor Lawrence was running full speed, and Azeez Al-Shaair was jogging. Like Azeez Al-Shaair was basically walking whenever he went to hit Trevor Lawrence. He planted his feet and then dove. Like there was literally no momentum for Al-Shaair.
Yeah, there was a clear lunge with the forearm at like
there's no question that Azeez Al-Shaair did it 100% on purpose. And to try and like say the quarterback should have done something different on somewhere where they started sliding 6 yards before contact against a player who was jogging, not even running, is a stupid argument.
Yeah.
And DeMeco Ryans, I had respect for him. Fuck him, dude. To come out, like he should have left it where it was. He should have said, I commented on this last night. I stand by my guy, but we can't do that. He should have just said that and left it there. But it'd be like, oh, it's twofold. When the quarterback slides late, and then the other team overreacts, and there was no late slide, D'Amico. Like you have the most state-of-the-art tape in every angle of camera footage you could possibly watch. But the problem is D'Amico Ryans, and I'm going to say this, and Curtis, you can disagree all you want. D'Amico Ryans teaches his linebackers to play like that because he was the linebackers coach in San Francisco whenever Azeez Al-Shaair and Dre Greenlaw were there, and they both constantly got in trouble for headhunting, going for dudes' heads. To'o led with his helmet later in the game, knocking Ward out. He teaches his linebackers to play up to and a little past the limit of what's legal. And I'm just going to stand by that because he says we don't coach that, but he's literally the guy that has coached Azeez Al-Shaair all but one season since he's been in the league. And Azeez Al-Shaair has been dirty every season he's been in the league, including Dre Greenlaw, who also has gotten in trouble many times for the same exact stuff. I think D'Amico's teaching them to go to the limit and a little bit over, but try and be slick about it, and it's not working.
But what about like dudes like Fred Warner?
Fred Warner's a stand-up dude. He doesn't need to be dirty. He's an elite player.
He coached him too, though.
I understand that.
More examples specifically, wouldn't there be more examples with other players?
Fred Warner's an elite player that doesn't have to play dirty.
I mean, a lot of elite players have played dirty, but that's neither here nor there.
Who?
What are you talking
about? Stu was dirty as shit, but he was one of the best.
Literally any, like, most defensive linemen back in the day. Brian Dawkins would literally kill people.
Brian Dawkins was not dirty.
If he played today, we would be talking about him.
But we're talking about completely different time. I'm talking about a guy who has coached in the current era with the current rules the whole entire time this guy's been in the league, and another teammate of his, and they both have the exact same issues on the same team.
Henry
and then he comes back under him.
Same issues hitting somebody.
I'm talking about Dre Greenlaw. I'm talking about the fact that Dre Greenlaw also has the exact same issues from whenever they were on the San Francisco 49ers together when D'Amico Ryans was the linebacker coach teaching them every single day.
Could it not just be an attitude thing? Because if he's teaching all the linebackers that and Fred Warner's not doing that, then that's an attitude thing.
Not necessarily.
Well, it wouldn't fit.
Yeah, you're right. It's an attitude thing. Fred Warner knows, hey, I can play elite football without having to try to injure people. He has a good attitude.
I don't think that's what that is, but I think it's an attitude thing. There are some dudes who, like I played with, that made no sense to do certain dirty things.
Yep.
But would do them all the time.
And did your coach come out after saying it's unacceptable and then defend them afterwards?
I mean, we didn't have to answer to anybody.
Okay.
Anytime
he does. And the head coach said,
he'd be like, we don't do that.
The head coach said, oh, I stand with my guy, but we don't do that. That's unacceptable. And then the next day comes out and says, well, when the quarterback slides late and, the other team overreacts about it after we just gave him a TBI, D'Amico Ryans is a piece of shit. He should have left it where he left it. And it could be that D'Amico Ryans is bad in the press conference. It could be. But he very intentionally said that Trevor Lawrence was at fault for sliding late and then immediately did not blame his player again.
Well, then I would suggest that you don't watch the GM Nick Casario's press conference.
Well, Nick Casario is a retard. He always has been.
The man literally was like, it's all like the suspension was bullshit. The consistency from the league didn't exist.
Well aware.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Anyway, this game, outside of the obvious debacle that was, this was an ugly first half of a game. 6-3 at halftime, Houston leading. The most atypical first half for a Houston Texans game this season. The least amount of points we scored in the first half since Minnesota, and where we didn't score any and only scored one touchdown in the second half. We did buck the trend of prior weeks, though. We did score 17 points in the second half. Problem was we didn't apply any pressure at all to the Jaguars offense. And with Azeez ejected from the game, the backup linebackers Neville Hewitt and Devin White were often picked on and out of position. The crossing route that BTJ caught and took 56 yards was Neville Hewitt and Devin White not being in position, as well as Jimmy Ward not being in the game at that point. I don't believe. I believe that was actually, it might have been Okuda, but he doesn't need to be on the team. That dude's trash. Seems like every time he's on the field, somebody just hits a crosser or a quick slant and he's done. Got the running game. Like the second half is really the story of this game. We got the running game going in the second half, which doesn't really happen a whole hell of a lot for this team. Joe Mixon looked solid. There were a couple plays where the line was actually blocking well, and it wasn't just Joe Mixon making things happen. It was the line providing opportunity for him, which has been few and far between in the running game. I'm trying to think here. Stick's vibrator broke tonight.
Yeah, we did. We went live the other day, and my dryer has the loudest buzzer on the planet. So it went off, and it went, and he's like, "What the fuck is that? Your vibrator?" I was like, "Oh god, I guess."
It definitely did not help us that you guys couldn't really move the ball on us in the first half. Jarian Jones gets ejected for throwing punches in the fight, and then our secondary just crumbled.
Were there 2 Jaguars ejected?
1. Evan Ingram got an unnecessary roughness, and Jarian Jones got the unsportsmanlike and was ejected.
Okay. I saw that Jones was ejected way after the game. I had no idea that he was ejected from the game during.
Yeah, they ejected his mic. So the ref's mic went out on the field when he was calling it. And so he called. So I watched the video that I sent you of from the sideline view, down the field, basically.
Yeah.
And when the ref is making the call, he does the unnecessary roughness on them, unnecessary roughness, and then when he says the second one, it cuts out. You can't hear what he said. So I think that I think the feed just got cut or something happened, and so it never got announced on the air. But yeah, Jones got ejected in the brawl as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we were able. A lot of what we wanted to see in this game was Bobby Slowick putting together a full game of good offense, and he didn't. Instead, Mike actually put it best. It's like he got the game script flipped or upside down or something, and he read the script for the second half and the first half, and the script for the first half and the second half, because it was crazy. I mean, we scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, which has not happened in a long time. I don't think we saw enough out of the offense to ensure Bobby Slowick is going to be back next week. I think the next few games are going to really he's got to show something to make these games hella competitive. But yeah. There was not a lot. The moment Mac Jones came in, they ran the ball a lot, and then we kind of stopped the run, and then Mac Jones was like, "Oh yeah, they're literally not even pressuring me right now. I'm just going to throw the routes that made me rookie of the year, and because the Texans defense is going to treat me like a rookie."
And those wide receivers made him look so much better than he is.
Yeah, there were a lot of passes that were
both of those touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns, the DB fell and Parker Washington jumped, he probably maxed out his vertical to catch that football, and then ran in. And then the Brian Thomas Jr. throw was it was a good throw, but really the linebacker, you have a linebacker on Brian Thomas Jr. in the end zone, and he just got turned around and he caught it over him. But yeah, they were doing him a lot of favors in that game. BTJ, because he also took that one, 56 yards off of a 3-yard catch.
Yeah.
And then also Mac Jones completely missed that motherfucker down the field on what would have been a big touchdown. But, here we are.
Yeah. Jalen says, "Oh, no, definitely not. Doesn't help the Texans played conservative on defense the entire second half."
I feel like they played conservative most of the game. We just couldn't move the football in the first half.
It was good to see the Texans offense close out a game and not put it back on the defense. That's true. We have not seen that at all this year.
I mean, they kind of did put it on the defense, in my opinion. The fact that, at the end of the game, we were driving the ball and, we stopped you and then got it back and scored again. And then, if it weren't for if it weren't for that last little drive and them getting that first down, like that's our ball back. And
that's what he's talking about, is that last drive. I mean, I knew it when you guys scored that last touchdown to make it 23-20. I was like, shit, we're going to go out of here and 3 and out, give them the ball back. But instead, the offense, did the right things and was able to actually block. Hell, the tight ends had one hell of a day today, and that's never been the situation. Trevor. Wow. Dalton Schultz scored his first touchdown of the season.
really,
Yes.
people were trying to tell me before the year that he was better than Evan Ingram.
Well, I will say that a lot of the
Schultz. People were trying to say that he was better than Evan Ingram.
Who was saying that?
Texans fans.
What the fuck? Okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know where they're at, but exactly, to Gremlin.
Sure, buddy.
Texans usually F up time management. That final first down on that third down run, there was one hell of a block by Cade Stover. I think there's a world where next year he's tight end 1 and Schultz is tight end 2, because he at least is showing promising signs of being able to block and catch the ball.
I like me some Cade Stover.
Only a catching kind of guy. CJ Stroud looked efficient. There was a couple really bad throws. There was pretty good pocket management at times. And then, God, his biggest problem, I'll say like 30% of the sacks that he's taken this year is because he's holding on to the ball forever.
That one with Trayvon, he absolutely should have thrown that ball away. As soon as he got out of the pocket, he just decided to hold on to it because he thought he could get away from him. And
are you talking about the one that was like early in the first half?
I think so, where he tried to leave the pocket and Trayvon dove and got a hold of his shoulders.
Yeah.
He should have launched that ball as soon as he cleared the tackle.
Yeah. Well, he should have probably been
just gone
down. Guy in the flat that he should have been hitting deep ago before he left the pocket.
Yeah.
But he's constantly
that stunt took a while. Because that stunt, because it was a double end stunt. So both the DNs went out, or no, sorry, both the DNs looped around on the inside, and the D tackles pushed out to the tackles, and they just Trayvon Walker bull rushed in, did his thing, and then slipped off to the left. And I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Bayshawn says, could the Texans take the 2023 Jags route, 3 games slid, and give the Colts the division?
So
no Curtis, but the Texans don't look the same.
I will say.
Let me get to that real quick, and then
let me say this first, Curtis.
All right, fine.
So I will say, the past 3 seasons, the division winner, the next season has lost in the same way, where they lead the division, and then sometime in the towards the middle to end of the season, they just drop off and lose.
Yeah.
So it is very real that the could win their first one in a decade.
No, there's not.
But I doubt it.
No chance. No chance.
Here's what Texans' next 3 games are.
It's a 2% chance. You guys, the Texans have the
head-to-head. I'm not worried about the Dolphins. I'm not that's a game we can.
I mean, you almost lost to the Jags, so I'm just
we beat the Bills. How many of y'all beat the Bills this year?
That's kind of the point that we're making here. It's like you beat one good team, and it's
yeah, but you could look at some historically great teams, and they all have a bad loss to a team they shouldn't have lost to. Super Bowl team, the 2004 Patriots, they opened the season 31-0 loss to the Bills, who won 4 games that year.
Let's not talk about seasons where I was 4 years old, Curtis. Let's talk about right now.
You were born in 2000?
Yeah, the year 2000.
Oh, you missed the 90s. That's sad.
Not really. I mean, everything that happened in the 90s happened in the 2000s. People just don't like to talk about it because they're stingy.
The way I see it, the last 3 seasons, you're right. The team leading the division for most of the year kind of falters out at the end. However, the Texans have been consistently this exact team all season. I don't expect us to lose the Final 4. At the worst, we're going 2-2 here. And even if we go 2-2 and the Colts, win out, we still win the division. So I'm not worried about it because the Colts have to play the Broncos next, and that's a bigger challenge than the Dolphins at this point because I'm not scared of their defense. And the only thing that really kind of terrifies me about the Dolphins is the fact that Tua can throw the ball either behind the line of scrimmage or 50 yards downfield, and Tyreek Hill is fast enough to make us hate our life. That's the only thing that makes me worry about the Dolphins.
And Waddle's kind of emerged as their number one at this point.
Yeah, I think Tyreek's not the dude. But
he introduced his 11th baby today or yesterday
with like 10 different women or something.
That's 5 this year.
Bayshon says, I said that because the Chiefs ain't really good. Somehow they went in with the Ravens. Okay, Texans can win them, but they got to be better. Absolutely. The Texans have to be better.
You think Texans are a first-round exit if they continue how they've been playing?
Yeah.
Depending on who they're playing.
I mean, at this point,
like
the team's making it. I mean,
who they're playing. Absolutely.
I think who would
we were supposed to be a first-round exit last year.
I mean, the Chiefs, I'm just kidding. Y'all aren't playing the Chiefs. Or actually, no, the Chiefs they're the number
1 seed. Yeah, they're 11-1, and then the Bills are the 2 seed. But right now we're matched up with the Chargers.
Oh, that's right. They would be 10-2 if the refs didn't change the call at the end of the Raiders game to give them the ball back. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, false start. Oh no, illegal shift. Chiefs get the ball.
Yeah. Let's see. Bayshon says, but I trust CJ. Hill has more kids this year than touchdowns. Damn. From the Gremlin. And then Bayshon, Buffalo will fold in the playoffs.
Yeah. I keep thinking to myself, like, what happened to CJ Stroud? Why is he playing so bad this year? And then I think to myself, nothing happened. He's just a second-year NFL quarterback who I believe overperformed in his first year, like due to like new system, great players around him, busted plays. Offensive line was decent for a good part of the year. This year, offensive line falling apart, and they haven't had as many big plays this year as they did last year. And I think CJ's just he's showing some cracks that he had, but like weren't as relevant last year. But like he's gonna be fine. Nobody thinks that CJ Stroud is gonna be like not good and he's washed or anything like that. Like he's gonna be just fine. But I just keep telling I'm like, what happened to him? Like, oh, nothing happened. He's just 24 or 25 years old and
he's 22.
Is in his second. He's 22. I thought he was it's Levis that was old from that class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's 22 years old. Like he's got time. He's gonna be all right.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of overthinking this year. You're right, Gremlin. He's doing a lot of overthinking. He's doing a lot of like, I felt like a lot of the times last year he'd be under duress and like know where to go and have an open receiver behind the defense and maybe not underthrow the hell out of them, like that Tank Dell pass in the Jags game. Which, I mean, he stood in the pocket and delivered and then got fucking mollywopped after he threw that ball. But, yeah. I mean, realistically, if we get the Chargers, I think we can beat the Chargers. Their offense doesn't necessarily scare me. Their defense is the best part of their team, but I don't, other than Derwin James, I don't think I know anybody on their team. Is Khalil Mack still there?
Mm-hmm. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are both still there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not worried about it. As it stands right now, I'm cool playing the Chargers. I think the Ravens are beatable. I think the Chiefs are very beatable. Now, whether the NFL allows the Chiefs to lose is another thing, but I think these, there's not really an actual elite team out there right now, other than maybe the Lions, and the Lions are really, really hurt. So they're not going to look the same.
Last thing I'm going to say on this one, the only reason that the Buffalo Bills beat the Chiefs is so the Chiefs can beat them in the playoffs in dramatic fashion and go to the Super Bowl. Mark it. It's going to happen.
More than likely. And Jeff, we will get better defensively, and we usually play well coming off a bye week. I don't fear the Broncos. Crazy enough, our Colts
That's-
keep up to good competition with the exception of the Lions.
I mean, I hope they do, man. Gus Bradley's got to change some shit up, though, man. I'm tired of this. Alex wasn't in agreement with me in this game about them. They bent but didn't break. No, they broke. It's just the Patriots were just committing penalties all over the place. That wasn't on the defense that they didn't score more points. Like they've got a lot of shit to figure out on the defense. They really do.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley is not aggressive enough.
Do you think if the Colts miss out on the playoffs this year that they'll keep the GM?
I can't see a scenario where if the Colts miss the playoffs that Ballard comes back. I don't know how you can win one playoff game in like 8 years and continue to be able to justify your job. I don't see it. But that means you're either going to try to bring in a GM that's tied to Shane Steichen, or you're going to do a complete reset. So I don't know what direction they go here.
The Gremlin is ruthless over here. Broncos going to nail the Colts to their hooves and stomp around on them. That is graphic. That is graphic. Yeah, I think the Colts will probably finish the season pretty strong. I mean, they got a really weak schedule coming up. 9 wins is very reasonable for them with this stretch here. I say 9 because the Broncos defense is playing phenomenal football right now. They let Jerry Jeudy just annihilate them last night, but other than that, they still had 2 defensive touchdowns. They lead like 7th in picks. They're number 1 in sacks. They've got a solid defense. Beyond that, do you guys have any closing comments, gentlemen?
Well, at least got a bye week to get rested up, and we can't lose. So,
yep, we're on the bye week with you. So there's no. Yeah.
Titans essentially have a bye week next week, so that'll be nice.
Jaguars essentially have a bye week next week, so that'll be nice. Isn't it crazy that the whole basically Jags, Colts, and Titans have a really easy rest of the year, and 2 of the Jags games and 2 of the Titans games are really easy, but they're against each other. It's such a weird season where this we could split, one team could sweep the other. And we still play the Colts again. There's no telling what's going to happen in the AFC South by the end of the year. And it's just going to be us. The only reason the Colts miss the playoffs is if the Jaguar, because you guys play the Titans one more time, don't you?
Yeah.
So if the Titans or Jags somehow beat them, is the only way that they don't make the playoffs. In my opinion, I think they're going to lose to the Broncos personally.
Well, they could get eliminated before that.
The Colts don't control their own destiny. Even if they win out, they could still not make the playoffs.
Wouldn't they have 10 wins?
Yeah, 10 wins isn't obviously the qualifier, but everybody who's in an AFC position of playoffs has at least 8 wins.
Yeah. So even if the Colts win out, they could still miss the playoffs.
Mm. Yeah.
They need help.
8-5, the so-and-so, the Broncos are 8-4, 8-5.
Sorry, I was reading the comments.
The Kremlin. Oh, I didn't even notice a Titans fan was here.
Oh,
at least there is not a real dude or a photo or a plant.
No, I'm here. I swear. Jesus.
4-0 stamps it. I mean, look, I love the energy, Bashan. I think it's very possible. But you guys are going to still, even if you go 4-0, you're going to need a little bit of help because if the Texans win 2 games, y'all win out. We win the division. And you're going to need at least one of the AFC teams that are currently in the wild card to lose 3 games. Out of
yeah. Texans 8-5, Chargers 8-4, Ravens 8-5, Broncos 8-5. Damn.
Yeah, AFC is stacked. Meanwhile, the NFC does not feel that way.
Colts have the Broncos. I'm just answering that guy's question. Let me see.
I got you right.
Broncos. I got it right here. Hold
on. Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jacksonville.
You know what?
Giants,
honestly, Austin, I hope you guys do win both games. Because I want the
gonna-
number one. I want the number
I was
one
about to
overall
say.
pick, and I want to trade it for some picks and pick up some people because I feel like the season's so bad. Like what's that much worse about losing out and getting a high pick? Like who? Like all we can do at this point is fuck around and get like a middle pick and screw ourselves. Like let's just lose some games.
Yeah, though I think the worst thing would be like win out these last 4 games because that just gives you an awful pick that you can't do much with. Exactly. I have the same mentality. Like if you guys end up beating us, I really won't be that bummed. Like I'm fine with a top 5, top 10 pick.
Yeah. Bayshon says, plus the Chargers could lose to Chiefs Sunday night and Broncos. True, but the people ahead of you need to lose 3 games while y'all win 4. So you've got there's a little bit of a deck stacking, okay? And you're going to need some pieces to fall in exactly the right spot. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility yet. So
the best way is for them to win at least 3 of the next 4, and the Texans to lose out.
Yeah.
That's kind of their only chance is if the Texans lose out.
Yeah.
And then they get an automatic spot from that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, historically the Titans-Texans split road team wins. So we shall see if that streak continues.
Nah, man, the Titans are on a streak right now. They're doing Will Levis is tearing it up.
Titans Jags going to mess up the draft order or going to mess the draft order up and beat the Colts. True, don't sleep on us against the Broncos. We did best the Steelers with the defense they got. Yeah, but that was Justin Fields. You know what I mean? They got a wide receiver out there playing quarterback, and you beat him by 3 points.
I mean, I will say, I don't really like
Russell
Wilson.
Defense, though.
I don't really like Russell Wilson, but damn, he's been playing good lately.
Dude is balling right now.
Well, I think it's because I think you know the like what's the like oh man what's the thing about like something like immovable object meets like unmovable force or whatever it is.
The unstoppable force.
Yeah, it's like so like I think that the problem is like Russell Wilson thought he was an unstoppable force, and then he met Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin said, "Nah, none of that bullshit here." And he said, "Yes, sir." And then he's just fucking killing it now because he realized he's not the guy he thought he was.
Yeah. I think Denver like chemically altered that man's brain or some shit. All right. Well, look, let's put a button on this. Yeah. Go ahead, like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to get in front of more AFC South fans. While you're at it, if you're a Texans fan, head on over to That Real Texas Team podcast. Like, subscribe, notification bell. If you're a Jaguars fan, head on over to Third and Teal. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Same thing with Unstabled, our Colts podcast. Like, subscribe, notification bell. And Titans Takeaways, where you can find Austin. Like, subscribe, notification bell. The Gremlin says, legal weed got him. Yes, Russell Wilson got by the legal weeds. Without any further ado, folks, be good people. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. We out. Go Texans.
Go Titans.
Go Colts.